What is up, everybody? My name is Nick, joined once again by my co-host Matt. For better or worse, we're here, ready to go. Divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Some good games. I'm excited. Matt, what are your thoughts on looking at these games?
I'm excited. I'm feeling myself on the hockey slate. Some people have been calling me the GOAT, and the transformation started. Sometimes I just start, saying some stuff. It gets weird, full moons, maybe that's werewolves. I don't know. Either way, see, it just kind of like comes and goes with some weird. I don't really know what's going on, but I don't hate it. I really don't hate it. My fiance thinks it's annoying, but I can't help it. So it is what it is. We move on. I love these games. I think there are some teams that we didn't expect to be here, but I think overall there's some great games and hopefully a possibility all four stay close. But I think overall we'll get at least two good games out of this one. So um, I'm excited. How about you?
I've never wanted to punch you in the face more in my life. Right then. Right there.
I can't help it. I just can't. I mean,
All right.
what do you want me to do?
I'm excited for the games. That's all I'm going to say. Let's just move on. Let's get into it. First of all, thank you everybody for joining. If you guys like and subscribe, if you guys aren't already members here, love to have you. We do weekly live shows and other content as well. But let's get into why everybody came. I was going to say Chags. No, Jags at Chiefs. The line is currently 8.5. The over/under is the highest on the slate at 52.5. Matt, what are your thoughts on this game? I know we brought up. I want to say something real quick. I know we brought up earlier in the week with our preview video the spread difference in the first half between different books, ranging from -4.5 to -6.5 throughout. You still like that first half, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I might middle that honestly, and just hopefully I can land on a 6. I doubt it lands on 5, but if you can, get like a 20-14 or 13-7 kind of first half, that'd be cool to try to win both. But my play, I kind of did a weird thing, and I honestly hate when people do this, but I feel like I just kind of have to in this spot. And I'm just going to go out and say it's Travis Kelce, 60-plus receiving yards, and the Chiefs' first half just to win. The Chiefs have to win for this bet to hit. If it's tied, you're going to lose. But Kelce at 80, his yards are at 80. His receptions are basically at 7 with a little bit of juice. I think he gets his yards. I mean, if you look at his game log in the playoffs, and I know in this season he really hasn't been the Travis Kelce, that we've seen. I think Mahomes has kind of tried to create chemistry with new receivers since Tyreek left. Like Juju, they got Kadarius Toney a couple weeks ago. I still think that there's some chemistry stuff they have to go and work through. I think in the playoffs, Travis Kelce is the guy. If you look at his game log in the playoffs, he had 10 catches for 95 yards, 8 for 96, 5 for 108, 10 for 133, 13 for 118, and 8 for 109. That's 90-plus in every single game, every single playoff game in the last 2 years, which is when you think about it, when they've really been the Mahomes-Kelce duo. That's also with Tyreek Hill taking a lot of receptions and yards away. I think he's the guy. I think 60-plus is a safe option instead of 80, even if it's a blowout. I think he definitely gets 60-plus. And if the game is close, I think without a doubt he gets at least 60, barring any injuries, knock on wood. If you look at tight ends, to receptions, the Jaguars aren't really that great of a target. To targets, they're like a decent target, but they give up a lot of yards, which means they give up a lot of big plays to tight ends. They're the 5th best target in terms of receiving yards for the season. And I think this is a great spot. And if you want to know that game log in the playoffs, in the first half, they were 4-1-1 to winning the first half. They were tied against the Bills in that game last year, 14-14. And in the Super Bowl against the Bucs, they were losing. Other than that, they've also been winning every single first half. I think Andy Reid off a bye is going to come out firing, ready to go. And I just think this is the Chiefs roll through. And I'm just worried about a backdoor cover, so I'm taking the first half.
Yeah, I know you mentioned the backdoor cover. Obviously, that's what I'm worried about as well. I think Chiefs roll. That being considered, They're 31st in their red zone defense, so not exactly what you want to see there. But yeah, I think they roll over the Jags. I mean, the 8.5 is just a scary number. I'll probably tell you just on this. This seems fun. I'd love to make fun of those, but I've been doing them recently, and they're nice. Especially like yesterday. To give you an example, I did 3 of the plays I like the lines on. 2 of them hit, and then Vooch had 16 points and like 15 points, 16 points in the first half, and only didn't score at all, I don't think, in the second half. And his line was 19.5. So that would have just pissed me off to no end. But I cashed. So just by doing the stupid, combo fun parlay, you enjoy the game. That being said, if you add that Chiefs money line and Kelsey has 100 and they tie in the halftime, you're not gonna be a happy camper.
Not even close.
Not even close. Again, guys, there's stuff to look out for. Isaiah Pacheco, I know earlier in the week his touchdown odds were a lot better on Caesars. As far as the game itself, I really, to be honest, I just couldn't care that much. I don't think it's going to be very competitive. Personally, I'm just worried about, again, a backdoor cover. And I'd rather just spend my money elsewhere. And I'll probably just do that. Not a bad idea, I guess.
I agree.
Giants versus Eagles. Let's do it. What do you think? Anything else you want to add on that game?
No, I think that's it for the game. Actually, going back to the Chiefs real quick, I do like Travis Etienne receiving yards as a little bit of a whatever. I think because of the game script, I think he's going to be dumping it off, can get some easy yards late. And 19.5 is very, very, very low. When you look at running back receiving yards, I mean, not only are the Jaguars a top target, but the Chiefs are also a top target. I got burned on Eckler last week against this Jaguars team. I would play Jerick McKinnon, but the line's a little high. But I think the safer route via game script and still a good target is Travis Etienne over 19.5 receiving yards. May make that official, may not, but either way, it's a good lean for me, and may play it personally on the side for like a quarter unit or something just to keep tracking. But yeah, going on to Giants-Eagles, as a Giants fan, I can't bet this. I do think that there's an outside shot that the Giants steal this game, but they could also very easily lose. You never know what Giants team you're going to get. And as a fan, it's hard not to bet with your heart come playoffs. So for me, I'm fading the game as a whole and just going to watch as a fan. How about you? You have any thoughts on where this game's going to go?
I do have some thoughts. First of all, let me just make sure everybody's clear. The lines, what I'm seeing is 7.5, pretty much everywhere. Over under at 48.5. I like the Giants to keep it competitive and keep it within a 1-score game. Here's the first problem that I see going. If this were to go bad, it's going to be in the beginning of the game. The Giants have been struggling. Let me pull up my notes real quick. Boom, 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 boom. We see. So in week 14 when they played, that's when they got blown out 48-22. Eagles jumped out to a 21 lead in the second quarter. And that's really what the Giants have struggled with as far as first quarter. I'm trying to see I wrote this down. Yeah, they're 28th in first quarter DVOA and 24th in first quarter points allowed. So they can't let the Eagles jump on top of them. Obviously, that changes the whole dynamic of the game. They stopped running. Saquon had 9 attempts. They really just had to play catch up the entire time, and then it was just too much. You can't go down 21 in the middle of a second and expect it to continue to be competitive versus a team like the Eagles. That being said, obviously they got Adoree Jackson back and a bunch of players. They're looking really good offensively and defensively. Daniel Jones is throwing the ball really well. Partially, I would say that's to the Vikings because they just made no defensive adjustments whatsoever. But I like it to be a 1-score game. I think it could go either way. I do think that at the end of the day, the Eagles win. But with that 7.5 at -108, I'll take that and enjoy the full game and hope for just, a competitive game throughout, which I think that's definitely a possibility. Let's see. One other thing, I'm doing the exact same thing as you. We didn't talk beforehand about this. And And this kind of contradicts what I'm doing as far as Giants plus 7.5 in a way, but not really. I really like Dallas Goedert, and I'm taking this is with FanDuel. I'm going to price shop. It might get a little better as far as the odds. I haven't looked at the other books, but obviously last week we were able to see that the Giants give up some yards to tight ends. We talked about that beforehand as well. Let me see my notes. Boom. They allow the 10th most yards to tight ends on the year, and they sit 31st in DVOA versus the position. They're allowing an average of 56.1 yards, and that's on like 6.5 targets. Dallas Goedert is third on the team with targets, despite only playing like 12 games on the season, and plays majority of snaps at 62%. He also averages 59 yards and around 4.5 catches a game. He's hit 40 plus in 9 of the 12 games, and had 6 receptions for 46 yards in the most previous whatever. I can't talk today. The previous matchup versus the Eagles. I just like him to get this number. It opened up at 47.5. I like that number. I was going to go back to it. No, it's 52.5 right now. So I just said, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go with a little something more conservative. But I think it's going to pull through overall. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like it. I do think, if you want my honest opinion on the game, I do think the Giants keep it close. And I do think the Eagles probably pull it out. And the Giants defense, like everyone's like saying that they're like amazing. They're really not. Like they're fun to watch and they make some big plays. But if they don't make a big play, they're really not that good. Like this is not like the Giants teams of the past. Like, a couple things I've been noticing, people were like, oh, and I'm gonna just go back to this Trevor Lawrence thing too. Everyone's like, oh, this Giants team, like blah blah. Whenever they win is when they're not supposed to. It's like, yeah, but like that's not a stat. Like you can't like just say that. And then like the Trevor Lawrence thing, he never lost on a Saturday. It's like, no, duh, he was 3-0 in high school because no one on the other team in high school was Trevor Lawrence. And also in college, they went like 38-2 anyway. And they mostly play on Saturdays. He's like 2-0 or 3-0 in the NFL. Like that stat is just so dumb. He went like 38-2 in college. Like they just happen to play on Saturdays. So that's my whatever with dumb things. But the Eagles, realistically, the only way they lose this game is if Jalen Hurts isn't 100%, honestly, and he's just a little off. But I think, hold on, easily the Chargers collapse. The Vikings were like -3. Come on, Trevor, be better. Be better. But yeah, I like that play. I mean, I think Goddard gets 40 yards. So if you have a good way to middle both your bets too as well, and possibly cover one if one is a blowout or not. So.
Yeah. I mean, the worst case scenario, Dallas Goedert gets hurt in the first quarter and the Eagles win by 40. Boom. Both. One thing that looks like Ron brought up, Hurts is hurt, or he's recovering. He's recovering. I think he's probably.
He's actually off the injury report. He just was hurt before.
He might be a little rusty, but he was obviously dealing with that sprained shoulder, and yeah, I think that's behind him as of right now. That bye week comes in handy for sure. Let us get into the next game. I know you're excited about this one. Bengals at Bills. The line is currently 5.5, and the over/under is sitting at 49.5, at least on FanDuel. Look, you've told me before you're pretty adamant and confident in this game. You've called out the whole city. Well, you've called out the state of Ohio minus Cincinnati.
Yeah,
so that's nice.
Every other state, all 50 states and every other town and city besides Cincinnati should be rooting for the Bills. That's a fact. That is a fact. I'm just saying, like, if you're rooting for the Bengals and you're not a Bengals fan, you're an asshole. I will say it. Oh my God. To my grave. Like, you don't have to convince me or not. You can't. I don't care if you do everything else for everyone else the rest of your life. What?
LSU fan. Does that pass?
No.
Oh, come on.
Absolutely not. He played there. How many years did he play there? 1?
I mean, there's more
So
than
you root for Joe Burrow because of one? No, that is just ridiculous.
I mean, other people.
I'm just saying, no.
Jamar Chase, but,
I'm just saying you have to root for the Bills. Someone got to be the asshole. Thank you, Mike 91 Suave. Horrible middle name. I don't know what that's after, but no. I mean, think about it.
Literally insulting anybody. It comes
The
through.
Bills, first of all, this is the DeMar Hamlin story you have to root for. And also the redemption story, take DeMar Hamlin out of the equation of the Chiefs-Bills game last year. Like, this is a perfect time for you to just have them go at it again. Every NFL fan in that overtime game was pissed off that the Bills didn't get a chance to come back and try to drive down and win the game. So you know what? This is your chance. This is your chance to just go in and fix it. And they also sold 50,000 tickets already for that neutral site game. I know they'll get refunded if they don't make it, but this is a perfect chance for the NFL to get what they want and also test out something new. It is just too good of a script to not happen, especially if the Chiefs win on Saturday. Like, they're going to test out putting the Bills on one side and the Chiefs fans on the other side. That'd be so fun to watch and see that I think the NFL wants that to happen. And it's already fitting in tune of what they want to happen. So, yeah, Joe Burrow fans and Bengals fans, it's cool. But, like, it just makes too much sense for the Bills and the Chiefs to meet in the AFC Championship game again. This cool neutral site location, try to figure it out, and then have them duke it out to go to the Super Bowl. That's what you got to root for. You have to.
Okay. So, yeah.
Do you agree? You have to say you agree.
Agree with what? That was such
everything I just said. Everything I just said.
No, I don't agree with everything.
And you're an asshole. Okay. You are an asshole.
I'll take it. I like the Bills for different reasons. Different reasons that actually make sense. Let's talk about it. Injury reports. Let's look at that. Okay, Alex Kappa and Jonah Williams are out. That's their tackle and guard. Probably a big thing. Trey Flowers, cornerback for him, is doubtful. But really, I'm talking about that offensive line. They struggled last week, especially once Jonah Williams went down, stopping the pass rush throughout. And I think it doesn't get better, obviously, either. Even with time, and they know Jonah Williams is out, and they know Kappa's out. They continue to have a bad offensive line once those guys go down. I really like. Basically, I see them struggling to move the ball at that point because it really limits what they're going to be able to do. They have to get creative with their play calling throughout. The 5.5 is a little concerning in a way. It's such a weird number. Look, at the end of the day, lean 5.5. That's what I would do. I might live bet this. Hopefully, the Bengals get the ball first and they get like a couple first downs, and then boom, I get like a 3. That would be nice. In my dreams, at least. I just really don't like. It's mainly because of the offensive line for the Bengals. That's my question. Joe Burrow. Josh Allen's been turning over the ball a bunch. He is a lot healthier right now. Their defense is a little suspect, at least after last week. Obviously, they gave up 24 points. What was it? Skylar Thomas? I can't even remember his name, dude. It was bad. So that's on the table as well. And then the Bengals defense is elite. I mean, it's really, really good. And they kept him in the game, and they obviously won last game. But they also gave up a shitload of points to a Ravens team without Lamar Jackson. So it's like a give and take there. There's just so much question marks. I love the game. I think it's going to be awesome. I just rather kind of live bet it, or I'd lean towards the -5.5. I'll continue to look. I'm just not in love with anything, to be honest.
I think the Bills make Joe Burrow's life an absolute mess. You look at the first 2 games of the season, he got sacked 7 times and 6 times. They lost both games to the Steelers and the Cowboys, and that was the Cowboys with Cooper Rush. And then they cleaned up their protecting their quarterback. Didn't give up more than 3 sacks until the Browns, and they gave up 5 sacks, lost 32-13. And they had a clean pocket the rest of the season. Up until last week, he got sacked 4 times. And they did win the game due to a 98-yard fumble recovery touchdown at the goal line. If you look at that game, once his offensive linemen were hurt, he looked awful. I mean, not saying Joe Burrow is bad. He's not a bad quarterback, but he needs a good pocket to succeed because he's not that mobile of a quarterback. I just think the offensive line is done for him. You saw when he struggles with an offensive line. I think the Bills are too good. They're going to stomp. I think the NFL wants this game close. I think there could be a backdoor cover here. So I'm going to go with a fun little teaser using the next game that we have. It's going to be Bills money line and Cowboys plus 10.5 at minus 112. Bills money line again for all the reasons I stated before. And obviously, I think the Bills just cleaned it up and, got their weird game out versus the Dolphins, who had a lot of turnovers. I think Josh Allen protects a little more. I think they force more turnovers out of the Bengals. And the Cowboys, going to the Cowboys game, I like the under. I think overall, I'd like the under 46.5. So naturally, I'm going to take the team with the points teased up to 10.5. If you don't like doing this little teaser, my pivot would be the under in the Cowboys 49ers game, but you could talk a little more about that. I think it's a closer game. I don't really have confidence on who can win. I think both teams can win, my personal opinion, but I do like it being low scoring.
Yeah. I guess I'm going to be the man here in this relationship we have and take the straight bets.
And take the favorite? Okay.
Keep taking.
I'm
definitely not taking Dallas. Are you fucking kidding me?
Dallas isn't the favorite.
Everybody knows that. Everybody knows my pick.
I'm just saying Dallas isn't the favorite.
Yeah. It's fuck them boys. It's a whole different team. You can't compare the Bucks and the 49ers. I mean, it's just not. No.
I agree. It is cool that every relevant team in the NFC East is in the playoffs, though.
It is so cool.
I got him.
I can't wait. I hope Dan Snyder just sells the team. That's all I care for at this point. Sell the fucking team. Just do it. They got the – yeah. I don't even get into that. All right.
So obviously Cinderella story. This is like they had their Cinderella story.
Okay. All right. Enough of that game. We're on to the 49ers and the Cowboys. The line is 3.5. Let's see. 3.5. We're getting, around minus 110 or better. And the over-under is set at 46.5. It's gone up a point since we last talked. Here's my thoughts, right? Brock Purdy, as long as he gets the time, I think, first of all, the offensive line for the 49ers is just way better than the Buccaneers. Brock Purdy's got to, continue to just manage the game, not turn over the ball. That's the number one thing. Not make stupid mistakes. If he does come under pressure, just throw the ball away or take the sack. Don't try to break out and throw across your body or something stupid that, we all see young quarterbacks do. And then on the other side of the ball, the 49ers have an elite pass rush. They have great linebackers, great secondary. They have just depth everywhere throughout. I do think the Cowboys are better than I thought overall. At least last game, they played really well. Dak didn't turn over the ball. I know that was a big thing. Everybody was adding that to their parlays and stuff like that. If Dak can have a clean pocket, continue to just manage the game and throw the ball, I think they do have a good chance throughout. That being said, I just think the 49ers, they won 11 straight games. They're just on a different level right now. They have so many weapons on offense. They have so many weapons on defense. They're obviously at home. That doesn't hurt either. But I fucking hate the Cowboys. So take that into mind. I would probably bet them no matter what.
I mean, you got to be smart when you bet.
I've been watching funny thing. I've been watching so many TikToks just because I'm bored at work. And it's all like Cowboys live streams. I don't know how I got that on my phone. It's a bunch of just Cowboys live streams and just, people full makeup, like Dallas hat, blue everywhere, everything, just talking about how they're going to the Super Bowl, this, that, and the other. And I've been saving those live streams so that I can come back next week or the week after or whenever it happens, whenever they get eliminated, and watch those streams. I'm very excited. I'm very excited about that. I really am. Eat them tears. What are your thoughts on the game, though, as far as Um,
I don't know.
obviously, you like
That's a
Cowboys not
scary
to
game.
lose by 11.
I like the under. I will personally be live betting first. I'll be live betting each team to punt probably throughout the first quarter. I think it's a lower scoring game. I think both teams are going to try to protect the football, maybe not try anything too crazy. You got Dak, who's he didn't turn the ball over last week, but he does turn the ball over a lot, and Brock Purdy, who's say what you want, he's been playing well, but never really faced a defense like this Cowboys team. And I think they're going to start. Both teams will start a little slow. Maybe not show their full hand. Maybe not take any deep threats to start. You don't want to make any mistakes. And that's probably what I'm going to do. I really couldn't tell you. I think this is the game I'm most excited to watch. Probably the Sunday. The Sunday games are great. The Bills-Bengals game should be good. I do think the Bills take it. The Cowboys-Bills game should be also close as well, and I'm just hoping for a good game, honestly. Good close game.
Yeah.
Maybe the 49ers to win by 7, and we both win. You know what? I'm a good guy sometimes.
There you go. Easy. Let's go over, if you guys want to load in your questions, just go ahead and start doing that. We're going to go over the plays we've done already. I was thinking maybe we could talk about people that we like as far as touchdown scorers. We've been getting a lot of questions as far as that's concerned, and then we can wrap it up. So obviously, Matt likes Kelsey to get 60 yards receiving, and then first half money line. Again, if the Chiefs tie, you do lose that bet, so just be aware of that for anybody that's new to that. I like the Giants plus 7.5 to keep a one-score game and just not give up. Hopefully they don't give up 21 unanswered right at the start. That's just not the recipe for that. I also like Goddard 40 yards and the Eagles to win. I think the Eagles win, but I think it's going to be a closer game, a one-score game throughout. And then Matt's going with Bills money line and Cowboys plus 10.5 at minus 112. And then I'm taking the 49ers because I hate the Cowboys. Let's be honest. I like the pick, but I also hate the Cowboys. It'd be a lean at this, a really strong lean, but my hate drives me over. Just be aware. Guys, any questions in the chat that you guys have for this weekend? I want to go over a couple touchdown scorers. Obviously, I keep saying Boston Scott. He's going to score a touchdown, the giant killer, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I'd love to say he's not, and I don't think he is, but I mean, the stats are like crazy. But that being said, he's not. I do like Dalton Schultz after last week. I mean, he was getting all the targets throughout. I have to dive into that a little bit more. Saquon Barkley's minus 105, at least on FanDuel, what I saw. That's great odds, I would say, for Saquon at least. Boston Scott was, let's see. I'm just looking on FanDuel. Plus 320 on FanDuel. I'd price shop that. Saquon's minus 105. And then Schultz is, I believe, plus 250. That's all FanDuel.
Love your applesauce, my guy.
Say it again.
I love that guy's applesauce. Good stuff.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. I have no idea what you're talking. I get it now, but oh my gosh.
Anybody like wide receiver touchdown on the Cowboys or the 49ers? Both teams give up a decent amount of receiving yards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th and 8th most receiving yards. And the Cowboys actually give up a lot of touchdowns to wide receivers. 49ers give up top 10 as well, but the Cowboys, 22 touchdowns to wide receivers this year. Can probably go maybe fade McCaffrey because the Cowboys rushing defense is very, very, very good. They've allowed the tie for the second fewest rushing touchdowns, and same with the 49ers. So if you're going to see touchdowns, you probably got to go in the passing game. And I would choose probably a CeeDee Lamb or maybe a Debo kind of a look. Maybe Ayuk gets in there, but got to do a little more research on there. But I definitely pick a wide receiver for that game.
Debo is at plus 140 for what I'm saying. That obviously that seems like a good pick if you're going with that angle. I wouldn't count out McCaffrey, obviously, because he can, score in multiple.
Mine's like minus 160 though.
I
It's like
know, I
ridiculous.
understand, but people love their parlays. People love their parlays.
They do.
Talking as not as far as value, but as far as actually scoring, he can score in a number of different ways. But he's also splitting with like Elijah Mitchell as far as carries, and I don't know if I'd take Elijah Mitchell either. But again, that's all stuff to think about. Any other games or players you would consider if you were looking at touchdown scorers?
I like Kelsey, but his lines are obviously ridiculous. If you're gonna do one of those parlays, Kelsey's. I think Evan Ingram sneaky. Chiefs give up a decent amount of touchdowns to tight ends, and Evan Ingram and Trevor Lawrence looked great last week. So I look at maybe 2 tight ends in that game and 2 wide receivers in the Cowboys-Niners game. I do think Diggs gets on the board in the Bills game versus the Bengals. He didn't score last week. I think as these games get more and more pressure and more, I guess, tougher opponents, I think you're going to see the connection between Allen.
All right. Well, Matt's gone. Classic Matt. Oh, hey.
Did you kick me out?
No, come on. Let's go.
How did that even happen?
I have no idea. You sound different now, too. Glad you're back. So glad. I was about to be like, all right, guys, see ya. Any questions anybody has? Matt, anything else you want to add for the games this weekend?
One play that I actually do kind of like, if you like defensive props, our boy Lockdown Bets is not in here. Chris Jones on the Chiefs to record a sack, over 0.75 sack. So, if he gets a half a sack, it's not going to get credit for the bet. It was plus 105 on DraftKings an hour before the show. It is now, I think, minus 106 on FanDuel, minus 105 on DraftKings. He's had over this line in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the last 8 weeks. He had 1.5 sacks against Jacksonville earlier in the season as well. So I kind of like that as a defensive prop. I don't really get into those too much, but I think especially when they're playing from behind, tries to force stuff out, in the pocket, wait for some deep balls. I think Chris Jones, guys like Chris Jones, Frank Clark, Willie Gay, those guys will give Lawrence all the pressure he can handle.
Yeah, 100%. The only thing I don't like about defensive props is it can be suggestive as far as like grading. So like you'll see like get an arm on him, and sometimes they might give him an assist, sometimes they might not. Barkley carries at over 15.5 yards. I mean, over 15.5 attempts. What are your thoughts on that? Somebody just asked in the chat.
I would normally like it. That could hit, but Daniel Jones had 17 rushing attempts last week. I doubt they do the same thing this week. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to just over bet a Daniel Jones rushing attempts or rushing yards. If anything, it's probably a good spot for an under just because the lines kind of got bumped up so high. It just depends on blowout potential or not. I think they're going to try to keep it close and use him early. They only used him 9 times last week, so he's pretty fresh. But yeah, it's not a bad look at all. I think it's a decent look if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, he's had his times during the year where he got 20 plus. He got 35 versus the Texans, but that's the Texans. I think as far as game script, they're going to want to manage the game, burn that clock, do long drives, and keep things manageable, basically, as far as down and distance and the score itself. Don't want to, Eagles can put up some points. Don't want them getting too far ahead. So I think it works as far as game script. As far as 15.5, it seems a little high for me to want to actually bet it because anything could happen. If they, like I said, if the Eagles go up 2 scores, that's going to change how they use them throughout. And obviously with a 7.5 spread, the books are at least saying that, it's not going to be as close as it should be, or we think at least. So yeah, a little high maybe. Matt, anything else for today?
I think that's it for me.
Awesome. Let's get out of here, guys. It's been awesome. Again, if you can, like and subscribe below. Let us know if you have any other questions. in the chat, and we will answer them through YouTube. Bet responsibly, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
Deuces.